Hi, everybody. I'm so glad that I was able to make this work. My setup is a little bit weird, but so you might see some boxes in here because I'm going through I had two events last weekend and I'm having two events now. So it is a bit messy, but we're gonna make this work. Okay, so I have YouTube and I have Instagram. It will look weird because I'm not looking directly at the camera because of the setup that I had. But we're gonna make it work. It looks much better on Instagram, but we're gonna make it work. I have the pleasure to be able to host Mastermind for a while. Mastermind started right after the pandemic in 2021 because I saw the need of me first. It was my need to get answers from other professionals, to know what they were doing, to get a hold of somebody else out and ask them about their cancellations and the postponements, what we do, how to do addendums, how to do drafts to our contracts, and all things like that. So it started with me gathering professionals and letting them know, okay, we can just switch information and see what everybody else is doing. Then it evolved to have a presentation from me, and we had some guests as well, in where people would ask questions and then the questions get answered by either me or other professionals. And we have been hosting meetings on Zoom um, for about 2 years now. 3 years. It's going to be 3 years. And it has worked amazingly. However, I noticed that a lot of times it's hard to be live on something, to be live on Zoom, to be able to join and to ask questions. So this is the first time that I do it live, but with um, nobody else joining in where you have to be on camera, because sometimes that could be nerve wracking for some people as well. So what I'm doing right now is I ask on my Instagram stories to send the questions before. I have only a few. I don't have that many. So the meeting usually when we do it on Zoom is between 45 minutes to an hour. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's 30 minutes if we only have a few minutes to join, and then I'll answer the questions or somebody else answers the questions. Now, because I'm the only one logging in right now, like we can see my face, I'm gonna be the only one answering questions. However, the point of having a mastermind is that you get to share knowledge, that you show positivity to other people, that if you have a story, you can tell us your story and how you manage whatever situation you had that happened. And in that, and any professionals sharing their situation, sharing their information, sharing what they're going through, I think that there will be a connection with other professionals, letting them know that, okay, we all go through things and there is a way to manage them. And maybe something that you did something that happened to you happened to somebody else, and the way that you fix it, that you navigate a situation can help somebody else in the future. So that's why I keep the mastermind going. It is free. You don't have to pay anything. I know there's a lot of masterminds in where you have to pay a fee to belong to them. So this is something for the community, for the event decor community, that we all have things going on. So this is just a little taste of how it looks. This will be the only time that I plan to do it here, like an Instagram, YouTube video. But if I think that this is working, or if I believe that is better for people, then I will keep it going. But like I said, usually is on Zoom. So we'll see how it goes. We're just trying to pivot with many of the things that are changing in the event industry. And that is one of the questions. So now, since we're talking about the event industry, that is one of the questions that I had. Somebody was saying that they think that if they compare their numbers from this year to last year, their events are not the same in quantity. So and the events that they have, they're not what they usually are. And I talk about this in my last video, so if you go to Instagram, you can go and check my last live video, and I talk a little bit about this. The economy is not doing great right now, so therefore the first thing to go usually is parties or extra stuff, or fun extracurricular activities in the household. So if there's somebody that is not earning as much usually, and they have a birthday party or a wedding, or if there's couples that had a wedding planned for this year, and they decided to either move the date for 1 year so they can save more money and then hire services, or they decided to go, instead of having 150 guests, they decided to go lower in their guest count. So there are so many things, and there's so many moving parts right now in the wedding industry, where I think that even if you compare your numbers from this year to last year, you're not gonna get the same results because of how the economy is doing. I don't know much about recession and all economics, the specific formulas of it. However, I think we all can tell that the economy is not doing great, therefore, people are not partying as much. And that is totally normal when the economy is not that great. With that said, I believe that there are still things that you can do. So, for example, I had one of my students in where she noticed that the numbers are down. She does weddings mostly. So she notices that the numbers are down from last year. And then there's many holidays that she tapped into. So she did an Easter sale. She does balloons as well. So she did an Easter selling where she had boxes filled with candy, and then an arrangement with balloons and like a rabbit, eggs and things like that. So she tapped into that and she said, okay, I didn't earn as much as a wedding, but it was like half of the profit that I have on a wedding. So for her, it was better to have that profit, even though it's not as much as a wedding in one weekend, than to have nothing at all. Because yes, the economy is bad and there's not many people booking events. However, you still have expenses. You still have to pay for electricity, gas, and many other things that are with the events that you have: website, your email, your hosting platform, all of the technology things that you pay month to month. There's still your overhead expenses. They're still there. If you have a place, if you have a storage unit, or if you have a warehouse or a storefront, you have a lot of expenses that that are still there whether you book events or not. So it to sometimes it's better to um, have an event, or to do something, some kind of marketing that will bring half of the profit, but that will still give you some profit instead of not doing anything. The other thing that the other question that I got when I asked my followers about it, it was, okay, I'm not booking that many events. How can I get more clients? This is the time in where you can do some marketing. However, the for example, if it is May, if you're thinking about booking things in other years, first, before I answer that, in other years I would say, okay, if it is May and you're trying to come up with a strategy for summer or fall events, it is too late. Now, that I would say that in a different year, not this year. I don't think it is still too late. Myself, I have seen many people booking last minute. So, like for example, one of the events that I have this weekend, they book a month ago, not even 2 months, a month ago. Thankfully, I had everything that they needed and I didn't have to buy any new stuff. But I can see that there are some people that are booking events last minute. So if you're willing to do last minute stuff, there are some things that you can do in your marketing right now. So, for example, keep doing the same marketing that you do. However, you can say, okay, if you can, instead of saying, okay, if you have an event for 200, 300 guests, this is what we can offer you. You can start by offering small things. You can say, okay, if you are missing your centerpieces for your wedding and I have the centerpieces, this is the thing that you can rent from us, um, stress free, because we already have them. And then you put pictures of your centerpieces, and if you want to, you can put the prices on there. The other thing that you can do is, if you do balloons, if you do some florals, whether they're artificial or natural, you can say, okay, if you're missing your bouquet, if you're missing your centerpiece for your head table, you can offer small things that will hook a client and say, okay, yes, I am missing that. And think about things that a client would usually get last minute, like maybe the centerpieces for the head table, maybe a backdrop for the cake, maybe it could be um let me think what else. Maybe it could be like a photo backdrop, a backdrop for people to take pictures if they don't have a photo booth. Small things that you can offer, that maybe is not a whole event. It's not like you're gonna do linen and the head table and the centerpieces and all that and balloons. Maybe you're not booking the whole event, but you're booking small things. Um, and this is a time where you should be paying attention to your fall weddings. Right now is when you can say, okay, if you have a fall wedding, this is what I can offer it. Another thing that she was saying, this is a conversation that I have with somebody. She was saying, okay, I know that the holidays are over, like Mother's Day already passed, Easter already passed. So what else I can do? Well, the only one that is coming up next is 4th of July. If you do, again, if you do balloons, if you want to do small packages, you can offer those small packages for 4th of July. But if not, then you can offer things that a person can have for their birthdays. A lot of people, because there are no holidays in the summer months other than 4th of July and Memorial Day, I don't think that people decorate for that. You can offer things for birthdays. Birthdays are a great way to tap. It's a great way to tap into the market, because even if the people do a small birthday, they still want a balloon arch, they still want a balloon bouquet, they still want a backdrop for pictures. And you can tap into that and saying, okay, maybe you're not going to have a huge party where I can offer my services of linen and decorations, but I can offer you a small, well, small quote unquote, that I can offer you a service that is not gonna be so expensive that you're gonna spend so much money, but something that is an statement piece for your birthday party, or even if there's no party, for just pictures for maybe a small celebration at home. You can offer a small statement piece that can that can make the celebration even better or more awesome or beautiful. You put the adjective on there. So there are still things that you can get clients. Don't get yourself overwhelmed about not having clients, because they will come. Like I said, I don't know much about how the economy is going to be in the later months, but you can prepare for it. You can prepare for is offering small things. Another thing that I was thinking about is that if you have a big inventory, there's many people, when people have um, an event schedule, they already have everything scheduled, and they don't want to spend as much. They usually DIY, and there are some pieces that they are not gonna buy because they're very expensive. So, for example, if you have metal arches, if you have centerpieces, if you have chargers, napkins, maybe not napkins because they're usually cheap, but if you have chargers, if you have silverware, if you have big statement pieces like the LED butterflies, pillars with lights, if you have the frames for your backdrops and you're willing to rent those things out without providing the decoration service, you can tap into that market. One of the things that I usually do is if it is less than a certain amount, let's say 500, if it is less than 500, I don't decorate myself, but I can rent it out to my clients so they can put it themselves. And some people want that. They still want the professional look, but they want to have the option of renting and doing it themselves. And if you're okay with that, because I know there are some decorators that they don't want anybody else other than them or their staff um, placing the things or trying to do the decorations with their material, which is totally fine. They are, if you're willing to put the effort into having the rental agreements with many people, because that's a little bit different than when you offer your decoration services. You can do that. There have been weekends in where all the rentals that I did in 3, 4, 5 clients, the profit from those rentals is the same as if I guided my team into doing a whole event decoration without the team because this is only a thing that I can do from home, or if you have a warehouse or a storefront that you can do from your own space into renting. They pick it up, they go DIY their party, or and they bring it right back. Now, there are things in there where you need a deposit that is refundable, in where if something comes back broken, or that you have to replace it, you are not losing money. You need to know where they live, or if you can get a copy of their information or a copy of their ID, depending on the state. I know that sometimes you cannot get a copy of their ID. But you need to protect yourself into not losing money if for some reason, because this happens, if for some reason they don't return the things on time, or they don't return them at all, or they come back broken, uh, where you have to replace them. So if you want to tap into that, into rentals instead of you decorating yourself, you can do that as well. If you do balloons, you can do grab and goes, pillars, arches, just bouquets. There are a lot of options that you can do for grab and goes. So the market is there. It's just thinking about, okay, well, if I am going to throw a party, but instead of spending $10,000, I want to spend five. If I were the client, what would I need? So think about that. A lot of people, there's not that many holidays over than other than 4th of July that I can remember that people celebrate and that they could need decorations for. But there's people that have birthdays, like especially May. You have birthdays, you have first communions, you have graduations. So there's so many opportunities there to be able to have people grab a service from you, or that you sell a product, if you're willing to do that, to sell a product in where all the services that you provide, from all the products that you serve, you can get profit, as much profit as if you were going to decorate one party. So there is a way to do that. It's just a matter of sitting down and thinking about how much time you have, because this is also time consuming. How much time you have, how much inventory you have, how many hours are you willing to work in order to get that going, and also into how much profit you want to have and how much you have to invest. Like, for example, with balloons, you have to see how much material you have to buy. For example, for graduation season, if you want to offer grab and goes, columns or garlands, you have to make a list of how much you're going to invest in order to make, let's say, 10. Let's start with 10. And then with that, with knowing how much you have to spend in materials, then you price it right in where you can do 10 a weekend. And then if you have those 10 a weekend, okay, can I do it next weekend? because sometimes you could have personal stuff, you can have other events and where you cannot do all the weekends. And then there's many decorations that, for example, on graduation season, there's many decorations that you can do in where it's not necessarily a weekend, they have to be during the week. If you have a job, are you willing to do it during the week, or you're not able, whether it's time, money, or space? Are you able to do it on the weekend, or I mean during the week, or only on the weekend? So think about all of that, and then once you have your information about the money and the time that you're going to spend, and also the space. I know there's many entrepreneurs in the event industry that they work for home. So do you have the space to hold 10 columns or 10 bouquets of balloons? If you were to have a sale, and that you're able to sell to have 10 clients, if, like, for example, I'm using the number 10, but you can do less or more. So if you are willing to do that, and if you see that you can do all of that, then let's go ahead and make a plan for it first. And then I'm going to share I have a goal tracker, so I'm gonna share the link for the Canva goal tracker in case you want to do that. But this happened to one of my students a couple of years ago, in where she said, "Okay, I want to say." I think she did it for Mother's Day, in where she said, "Okay, I want to sell 20 balloon bouquets for Mother's Day." So there's an action plan, and there's things that the steps that they need she wanted to do, and then I think at the end she sold 30 something. So she went above over what she had on her goal. So there's a lot of things that you can do in this summer. If you feel that your numbers are not up there compared to what you had last year, there's many ways in where you can get more clients. Another thing that you can do is you can ask your clients directly, like on your social media pages. You can do polls, you can do like this or that, to get an idea of what they're thinking right now. If they're willing to spend that much, how much they're willing to spend, if they're willing to pick it up, if they're willing to rent from you. Do they want to pick it up and have them do the work? So that's another thing that you can do. All right. I have, let me check. I'm checking my notes. And then the other question that I had, okay, so before I go to the other question, if we were in a regular Zoom mastermind meeting, this would be where I give the answer, and then maybe somebody else comes and gives what they did that worked for them. Or if you have done something, or if you have an idea that you want to share with the group, then somebody will come in and give you their idea of what it is. And that is what the mastermind is about, like to share ideas, to let people know about what you can do with the different situations that you have. Okay, and then I just have one more question, because we're already at the 20-minute mark, but I planned it to be about 30 minutes. So the other question is, a person was telling me she said on the question, she said, like, I need help with social media. That's all she put in the question box. And then I said, okay, well, there's many things regarding social media, specifically what you need help with. And she said, well, because I don't have that many events, I don't know what to put on social media. So this could be a whole class about it. I have actually in Event Decor Academy, I have a class about social media that is about an hour long, and I don't think that I tapped into everything that I needed to. So this could be something. There's podcasts about social media, so we can go into that for a long time. But there's three things that I told her that she could do. First, to identify what she wants to share, because sometimes you don't want to share the behind the scenes, you don't want to share the struggles that you have before an event until the event has passed, because we all have that. So if that is the case, first make a list of what you want to share on social media, because with that, we have when we consume content in social media, we always go like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Oh, she's doing great, I want to share that. But if it's not something that aligns with what you are, who you are as a business and the values and beliefs that you have, then it's gonna be hard to create that content. So make a list of the things that you want to share on social media, and then when you have that list, choose the four more important, brainstorm as many as you can, and then choose the four most important things that you want to share. So let's say that is going to be the behind the scenes, like for example, when you're setting up balloons, when you're setting a backdrop, when you go to a venue. The other one would be could be educational. You want to let your clients know how much effort, time, money, work you put into the services that you provide. So that could be educational. The other one could be about when you do the stuff like behind the scenes, but you're when you're actually making the stuff. So then you go down the list, you choose the four, and then with those four you start writing down what reels and what posts you can put, and obviously your work, that should be the most important one. When your work is all completed, when you have done an event, when you have done a decoration and you want to put in the when you want to put the pictures or the video of that event, that should be the main thing that you want to share in your social media pages. So when you have that list of the four most important things, then break it down, make a page, a column for each one, and then put what kind of reels or posts would you do regarding that. So what educational ones you want. When you are done when you are done with one event, what do you want to share of about that event? So with that, that would be the second thing that you can do. And then you start brainstorming. Okay, I already have the pictures, I already have the video, and then you can start doing that. And then the third thing that you want to choose is how consistent you want to be. If I have, for example, let's say that I only have one event a month, so that one event has to last me for a whole month of content. But it will be not impossible, but it will be very challenging to post something every single day of the month about that event. But, or maybe tiring. But if I have in my calendar that I'm only going to do two posts or a week, whether it's stories, reels, or posts or pictures, um, if I have in my calendar, I only have to do two posts a week, or to post content twice a week, then instead of having to think that you're going to create 30 things, you're only going to create 8. And see how the stress level goes down, because instead of saying I have to put something every single day of the month about this one event that I did, is I only have to post 8 things. And then you go back to your list. Which one is educational? Which one is behind the scenes? About the when I brainstorm, what reels did I have? What posts ideas did I have? And once you have that, you can create your 8 pieces of content from one event. And it is just an example that's something easy that you can do, because instead of sitting down and putting your phone and say, okay, I don't know what to post, I don't know what to do, then you already have a list of ideas that will guide you into creating a community and being educational and sharing your work at the same time. So it is much easier on you. You don't have to be stressed, you don't get burned out, and it is easier to navigate social media. Once, and then I would want to point out, don't do this on one platform. If you have TikTok, X, Threads, Instagram, and Facebook, and you want to do this in all of the 5 platforms, it's going to become very hard. So just do this in one platform, let's say Instagram. And then once you have that down, when you already have the routine of posting, and then you it's not difficult for you and you can do stuff. Once you have that down, then you introduce another platform, let's say TikTok. sometimes you can link them, and the same thing that you do on one you can do on the other one. But let's say that you do this on Instagram, you already mastered it, so now you include TikTok. Once you have those two down, then you include Facebook, and things like that, so that way you don't have to feel like you're doing every platform at once, and that is going to become easier. So that is something that you can do regarding social media. But like I said, there's so many things that you can do. There's so much. This could be talking about social media could be a thing that we can talk about for hours and hours. So this is like a very short version of what you could do. Regarding that, in the past, in the mastermind group, we have done Instagram challenges in where I tell you for we have done it 7 or 10 days. For 7 or 10 days, I tell you what to post. So that way you can see the engagement and your numbers, and you can see that if you make a plan, it could be much easier. So if you're interested in that, I can send you the ones that we have done before. Like I can send you the latest one, which was last year, I believe, in fall. I can send you the prompts so you can do that and check it on yourself. But I do have one coming up. I haven't scheduled it yet, but I think it will be either July or August, where we're going to do another Instagram challenge. Okay, so I think that those were all the questions. If you only caught a little bit of it, there's going to be a replay. So I'm gonna leave the video on Instagram and YouTube, and then hopefully you can join Mastermind. Like this is a little bit weird because Mastermind is usually when everybody logs in and then everybody is talking and sharing. I know some of the ladies that have attended Instagram before, they are not friends with other members of the mastermind meeting, so they have been. You can message them directly. Some of them they even like if they didn't find a color that they were looking for balloons, and they ship them the balloons in between them, like they got a hold of each other. So the mastermind meetings are to create community, to create a group of professionals that support each other, because I know sometimes that's hard. Whether you live in a city there's a lot of professionals or not, sometimes it is hard to create friends in the event industry, especially if we do the same kind of work. So this is to create community over competition. I know that that is a phrase a lot of people use, and maybe some of the people don't like because what it means, but it's something that we try to create over here in Event Decor Academy and Dream Mastermind. Hopefully you can join. So the mastermind meetings are always on Tuesdays, usually at 5:30. They're on Zoom. I wanted to try it out and see how it worked live. And if there's any other questions, you can always message me, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. Other than that, I will see you. I don't have my calendar with me. Actually, I do have one calendar over here. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna see when is the next mastermind meeting. So that way you can come and check it out. I usually post it on my stories. I know this is not the best for the frame, but actually I don't have a calendar. Never mind. I don't have a calendar, but it is the second Tuesday of the month, and I usually post the link for Zoom. I will see how the feedback is for this live, and then we'll keep it going. Hopefully, you can join. Thank you so much. Bye.